Surprise, surprise, motherfucker! The king is back!
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the show. So about 6 months ago, I was sitting at a stoplight and I heard a whine that I hadn't heard before. And when I got home, I crawled underneath the car with it running, and it turned out the fuel pump was making more noise than it used to. And sure enough, the other day I went out to start the Porsche and it wouldn't start. So today we're going to be replacing the pump, we're going to put in a new fuel filter, and the cool thing is we're going to make a new fuel line to replace the factory fuel line that goes between the factory pump and the factory filter. And show you guys how I did it, so stay tuned. Anytime you replace a fuel pump, you should always replace the filter. At least that's what they say. And on our Porsches, that means disconnecting the fuel line that is highlighted in green there that goes between the pump and the filter. My line wasn't leaking yet, but it was pretty corroded, and since I had to take it off to replace the pump and the filter anyway, I decided to save myself a future headache and replace that fuel line now. Unfortunately, that fuel line is more than just a rubber hose. That means the replacement part is kind of spendy. So today I'm gonna make my own fuel line instead and save myself about 160 bucks. Back in World War II, the United States and its armed forces got into the airplane business big time, and they developed a standard for fluid lines and fittings they could use across the board in military aircraft and machinery, and they called that standard AN for Army Navy. These fuel lines are measured in 1/16 of an inch increments, and rather than using tapered style thread fittings that are more common but also more prone to leaks, these lines and fittings use a more reliable straight threaded compression fitting that makes use of an O-ring or a gasket seal. When the war ended, so did production, but there were a lot of used and surplus airplane parts left to be had, and servicemen who built and fixed these planes in the armed forces came home and started to make use of them in their race cars and hot rods. They used things like bomber seats, gauges, belly tanks. They built whole dry lakes race cars out of those, and the AN fuel lines they grew accustomed to while in the service. As time went on, AN lines grew in popularity. Aftermarket companies got on the bandwagon and started selling AN fuel lines, fittings, and kits to the general public. One of the coolest things about these lines is that the fittings are made from high quality aluminum and they are reusable. So if a hose goes bad, or maybe you just want to reroute your lines, you can just replace that section of hose and reuse the ends and fittings you already have. Originally, the rubber-based hose only came with a braided stainless steel outer covering. Later on, the aftermarket started selling nylon braided hose that is less durable, but is easier to work with. The most inexpensive kit I could find that came with more than enough 6AN hose and the angled ends I needed to match the factory hose I replaced, I found on Amazon. They also had the correct banjo fitting for the pump end and the AN to metric adapter to connect the other end to the fuel filter. I also got a new pump from Amazon and a man filter. So this should be pretty easy. Easy peasy. It's at 35. We'll see how long it lasts. Fuel pump's right there. Let's be 7. I gotta put my glasses to get up here. All over the camera. All right. 8mm. I don't think that clamp on there is stock. German clamps usually don't have that serrated or whatever you call it. follows itself around to the fuel filter, so I'm gonna remove that. This is above the tank, so it shouldn't be a ton of gas, like it shouldn't drain the tank, but time to make a mess. 13 millimeter. If you wonder how cool you are, it depends on how many extensions you have on your ratchet wrench. If you have more than 3, you're pretty cool. See, that way I don't get stuff in my eyes. Actual check valve thing is threading out of the pump. Oh shit. Well, there I spilled the gas. You gotta get it back. I'm gonna try taking this line off of the filter and see what happens. Maybe it's 18 or 17. Oh yeah. Whoa. Okay, there's my. Oh, I need my bucket. Damn it. See, this is what it's like when you work on a fuel pump. You motherless goat. This is slowing down. That's how you do it. That's the hose, guys. It's pretty gnarly up here. The thing is, it's right behind the back tire, and it's constantly being sprayed on. Made in the Czech Republic. This is the fitting that comes installed in the factory style fuel filter. And in order to connect the AN line to this filter, I need to remove this fitting and install an adapter between this surface that's made for a copper gasket or seal and the new AN fuel line that I'm going to make. Yeah, 14. So I went online and picked up these, which hopefully they're going to be right. This should just thread into that fuel filter then. In China. So this should just thread into here. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, just like downtown. Look at that. Right up against there. It's hard to see, but there's a little black O-ring wrapped around there. This surface is made for a copper O-ring. I think I'm going to switch to the copper. So anyway, get yourself fitting. Boom shakalaka. So I'm just cleaning up these ends. I'm gonna unwrap the tape and then blow it out with air, blow it out with the air gun to make sure there's no shavings and stuff in there. There it is so far. Might have to tighten it down a little bit more. Alright, so you twist it up and then put it on backwards. I put masking tape around it. Cleaning the surface up with some rubbing alcohol. Put the together and then put it on the car. Not tight, so. So I'm gonna try to crank on the aluminum part, not the fitting. I ran up to the auto parts store and looked for a new one of these copper crush washers, and they didn't have anything. Then I went to the hardware store and they didn't have anything either. So I am just gonna reuse this copper washer. This hasn't been used in service, but obviously they used it between the original fitting when they put the fittings into the filter at the fuel filter factory. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this with some Teflon paste or goo or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna put that on the threads and on this too. And then I can see underneath here where there is a slight indentation where this was originally down on the top of this. So since I don't have a new one, I'm just gonna at least make sure and put this washer back where it was. Weather's finally getting nice. They say it's gonna get back down to 20 in a week, I guess, but as far as tomorrow, it's supposed to be like 80 or something. Maybe Thursday, I don't remember. In John Deere Green. Right there. I guess we'll find out. So there's the stock fitting on the other end. And there's the hand fitting I added. Yeah, baby. Booyah! Yeah, I'm going to bed. Get up tomorrow and put this thing back together. It's gonna be harder than I thought. Well, I guess I'm gonna pause the video and look for a clamp. I've got a few that I found, but this one is stainless, so I'm gonna crank this one down and see if it'll get small enough to wrap around this filter. If not, I'll just use a regular steel one. It's like 80 degrees out today. It's pretty nice. This one's got an 8 millimeter bolt. Let's see how much of this I can cut off. I'm gonna put on safety glasses, and then I forgot. I remember I have glasses on my face. I'm gonna have to screw the fuel filter onto this. I'm gonna put the clamp on here loose so I can then spin this and tighten it at the same time, and then I'll put the other end on. tight. Gavin Newsom.
Can knock down pit runner to Mike Joy in the Elliott pit. Ernie Elliott's waiting for his car to come back. Things look to be going just about to plan for you folks. Yeah, everything's going pretty good around here. There's only one. It's this one.
Let's come out right here. 13.
How does it feel? You used to laugh about. I wanted to get fuel injection hose clamps, but they only had these kinds, so I'm just gonna use these for now, maybe 2 of them. Alright guys, it's a moment of truth. Yeah, baby. Oh, it actually sounds smoother, or maybe that's just me. That's how you put in a new fuel pump and hook it up with a 6AN fuel line. Hope you guys liked it. I really hope if you haven't, you hit that subscription button. And thanks for watching Project Porsche, guys. See you next time.